Pins and Aces makes high-quality golf products for everyone. And check out their hat selection. I want them all, baby. Exceptional quality, great designs. Get 21% off your Pins and Aces order by visiting tjritchie.com/deals and use promo code TJ at checkout.
News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT proudly presents America's coolest conservative. Well, proudly could be stretching it a bit. Welcome to the TJ Ritchie Show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the green-eyed patriot is here, enthusiastically bringing you all of the entertaining news of the day and news of the week. But, I got to be honest with you, I'm not really on fire tonight to be doing the show. Because right before we started, Isaac started reading to me all of the times during football season that I'm going to be preempted for sports-related programming. And, it's kind of like, why bother, What is it? The station is the Carolina football station, UNC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't compete with that. So it was fun. The past few months it was fun. I'll probably just go on a sabbatical or something. Can you do that? Well, I guess I'd have to ask the powers that be if I could take a sabbatical during football season and then come back so I won't be rudely interrupted by Bill Belichick.
You're not going to like what happens during basketball season.
No, I was warned about that, but I thought they were joking that they had a deal about playing basketball games and it would take the place of my show. And I thought, they're just messing around with me. They're joking. Obviously, they wouldn't put anything like that on. And when they've got an opportunity to have me on the air and they're going to put sports on the air, and I'm a sports fan, but I'm going to be honest with you. I would rather hear me than sports any day. You can just hear about it, But it turns out, I guess they weren't just joking. I guess that goes right along with the other things that I've found out about News Talk. People don't joke. Oh, well, I got to figure out something. I'm just meant to volunteer, so I'll have to find some other volunteer hours while those coaches shows are on and stuff. So, I get that I would be, what do you call it? What did I say a minute ago? Preempted for a basketball game because the people in this area are all about college basketball and all. I get that for a game. But just to hear some coaches talking to some sports hosts or something, no, I don't get that.
Bill Belichick, he's a big entertainer, though.
Yeah, he's very entertaining. I mean, talking like this, I'm sure he's going to let everybody know a lot of secrets that's going on and some inside stuff that they won't be able to figure out by watching the game, and they won't know him. He's going to be full of sports gossip, all the tea for him. Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm still getting used to this being the lowest person on the totem pole thing. But I don't like it. Can tell you that right now. I don't like it. Mike, you acted like it wasn't going to be very often. Mike, program director. Oh, well. I mean, it's not like I'm going to have people clamoring. Where is he? Where is he? I'm just trying to make a demo tape, man. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to get together a good demo. So maybe I could, get a job at a talk station in Paducah or somewhere. Just a resume builder, that's all. All right, so Isaac, you want to kick off the Friday night right off the bat here? And then we can get that out of the way, too, that silliness.
You want to go ahead and knock
Since we're not going to be silly tonight,
We're going to be
I'm going to be grumpy tonight, so go ahead and get your silly little song out of the way.
Let's do it.
All right. So, yeah, I'm really impressed with the offense this week. And have you seen my young girlfriend? Yeah. She has no place in Carolina football. She's just my girlfriend. Yeah, but I say it's all right. It's Friday night and Bill Belichick bringing you all the energy and all the entertainment. So crank it up.
I've been living for the weekend, but no, not anymore. 'Cause here comes that familiar feeling that Friday is famous for. Yeah, I'm looking for some action, and it's out there somewhere. You can feel the electricity all in the evening air, and it may just be more of the same. But sometimes I wanna go where everyone knows your name. So I guess I'll have to wait and see. But I'm just gonna let something brand new happen to me. And it's alright, alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Bright lights never been silly. Belongs to us tonight.
All right, cut it. That's good. Thank you. Is that good for you?
I'm happy. I'm ready to go.
All right. Me too. All I did, ladies and gentlemen, was ask Isaac one question. I said, hey, we don't work on Labor Day, do we? Next thing you know, he's firing off. Oh, man, you're going to only have 1 hour, and it's the late hour. It's not even going to be the first hour. This night, all through football season, then basketball season and all that. But you won't be on your first hour. You'll be on your second hour if you're on at all. So then he wonders why I'm not ready to just bounce off the walls here. I ask him one question: what are we doing for Labor Day? And then he's just like, boom, 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 wrecking ball right there.
If it makes you feel any better, after April, you won't be preempted anymore.
You think I'm still going to be up in here in April when the sun's shining? Hell no. April showers are going to have me picking flowers somewhere else. No, man. I am not. I mean, I have worked too hard to deal with that kind of disrespect. Y'all call Mark Levin, tell him to do an extra hour.
You think he'll hang around till after the coach's show?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, he can start like an hour ahead. No, he won't. Yeah, because the hour. Yeah, he would. Because I'm not doing that second hour. If I can't do the whole show, I'm not doing any of it. If I had a contract, that's what it would say. Mike. Call Mike. Wake him up. Mike the boss man. Wake him up. Because he's partying on Friday night at 7:13. He's already in the bed. Okay. Well, I guess as long as we do have a show to fill tonight, we'll get that over with. We'll rip through it as painlessly as possible, ladies and gentlemen. If you have anything that you want to talk about, or you want to, I even let you on if any of you haters want to say something to my face tonight. I'll let you on. Oh, there, it's lighting up now. Okay, good. Good deal. Ringing off the wall, as they used to say. All right, no, we do have a lot of stuff coming up. It's a Friday cleanup, and there are a lot of great things that I didn't get to cover through the week, and we're gonna get started with that. But actually, first I got to tell you something that happened today that I've got a story about that is such great news for freedom-loving, normal, common-sense Americans like us. Okay? So we're going to do that next.
More of the TJ Ritchie Show is coming up.
Zevo Life is the ultimate all-in-one nutritional formula. It's one of the very best superfoods available. And right now you can save 30% on your Zevo Life order at tjritchie.com/deals. Use promo code TJ at checkout for 30% off.
Hey, it's TJ, and the TJ Ritchie Show will be a multi-touch marketing option for all the cool businesses in town. I have no idea what that means. That was written by our business department, obviously, for me to read. If you're a cool business, I guess you know what it means. So go to tjritchie.com and find out more.
He's radio royalty in the Carolinas and Queen Charlotte's sweetest prince. It's TJ Ritchie on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
I forgot. I have to do this now. Disclaimer. Hear ye, hear ye. Let it be known that I, TJ Ritchie, was just joking around when I was complaining about being preempted by ball games and coaches' talk shows and stuff during the football and basketball season. I really, really like Mike the Boss Man, and I was just joking at him and at Isaac and at everything. Okay. I don't want anybody running to Mike and saying, "Ooh, TJ was talking crap about you." Listen, he's serious. Just having a little fun, just funning with you, being a card. That's all I'm doing, it's being a card. All right, here's the good news. There is a Maine that writes for Breitbart, and his name is John Nolte. He's fantastic, and he's written a piece. You see, I call it a piece, like real professional talk shows do, like that Pete Callender. He calls it a piece when he's reading an article. Pete Callender, weekdays, noon to 3 on WBT. Here is something that I just think is delicious, because the Democrats, when they are in charge and they're not being questioned and they're not being mocked and scoffed at and all of this stuff, they come up with these stupid, crazy words to describe things. But that's part of the Marxist process, to change the language, control the language, make words that have always meant something not mean anything. It's always how the Marxist mentality is. So now they are getting demands for their talking points to stop using a lot of these terms and to talk like, quote unquote, normal people. Nolte says talking points are out instructing Democrats to stop using terms like birthing person and LGBTQIA+ and begin talking again like normal people. There's an organization called The Third Way, a leftist think tank that poses as moderate, released a memo Thursday calling on Democrats, quote, who wish to stop Donald Trump and MAGA, end quote. Call on them to stop using words and phrases no other ordinary person would ever dream of saying. The Third Way's blacklist is broken down into 6 categories: therapy speak, seminar room language, organizer jargon, that's like the way Obama talks, gender orientation correctness, the shifting language of racial constructs, and explaining away crime. Now, here's the list, and not the complete list, but it's just a little bit of it. Stop using terms like incarcerated people instead of convicts or prisoners. Justice involved. Oh, he is, yes, he has made a few bad decisions, and he is at the moment justice involved, meaning that he's got trouble with the law. Triggering, don't use that. Microaggression, body shaming, subverting norms, systems of oppression, cultural appropriation. See, that's one of the ones that normal people, when they hear about it, they just are like, what? Huh? One of the big cultural appropriation sins, according to the left, is when, let's say, a white woman has cornrows or braids in her hair. That's culturally appropriating, meaning you're stealing the culture of black women. And it only goes, I mean, everybody of quote unquote color can do anything that white people created, and it's fine. As part of white people culture, you can do whatever you want if you're not white, but the other way is not accepted in any way. Whereas it used to be looked at as, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, we're bonding over a new culture that, you know, this girl is coming to our culture and we're going to show her. I remember in school, the black girls actually braiding the hair of white girls who wanted to see what it looked like. And you know what they were? Happy. They said drop body shaming. We already said that one. Cultural appropriation is the big one, though. The unhoused, when you're talking about homeless people. Food insecurity, when you're talking about homeless people or some people who don't have food. They're starving. We used to call them the hungry. Can't do that anymore. Housing insecurity. Don't say that. Don't call a foreigner a person who immigrated. Don't call a woman a birthing person. Or don't use the term pregnant people or cisgender. Dead naming. Don't use that. And a dead naming is like if you called Bruce Jenner Bruce instead of Caitlyn, then you're dead naming him. You're calling him by his dead name. You can't do that. So this is a sign that, like we've been talking about, that normal people with sound minds have been right all along, and that all of this stuff is stupid, and that it's all used to tear down structure in America and traditions and divide people. So we were right about that. And then the other good news is they have really nowhere to turn now. How are they going to say these things? Do you think that some left-wing nut in Congress is going to come out and use, one of the old terms? Do you think that that Congressperson, can you imagine Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren, just saying the gays or gay people instead of LGBTQIA+? No. This is one of those things that I think, and Nolte mentioned it in the piece as well, that you can't turn back. What are you going to do? You've spent so much time demanding that everybody conform to these words. Stop using words that have been perfectly fine for all these years. And if they didn't turn to these terms, then they were evil and they needed to be canceled and all that. So now what? What are they going to do? I guess they'll get away with it because Democrats are blatant hypocrites and they don't get called for it in the media, except for the good media. But I do think it's hilarious. And the fact that we knew all along that it was stupid. Absolutely stupid. But I didn't see on this list to tell Democrats to stop using the term reproductive health instead of abortion. I didn't see that one on the list, so I wonder how they're going to handle that. Reproductive health. Oh, okay. So it'd be fun to watch. Yes, so fun. All right, we have some crazy, wacko pieces of audio for you that we didn't get to this week, and we'll start in on that stuff with the Friday cleanup coming up next.
The TJ Ritchie Show.
Hey, it's TJ, and yes, my new political show is on. It's every weeknight from 7 until 9 on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT. So go ahead and add TJ Ritchie to your home screen on the phone and download the WBT app.
He's America's coolest conservative. Welcome to the TJ Ritchie Show on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, contrary to what Isaac thinks, I am not in a bad mood tonight. I was just joshing around, you know. I was joshing you, but I'm very excited. But I'm excited to get finished with the show tonight. I'm going to tell you that, because what I've got coming up for me after this show is a personal excitement that has nothing to do with this show. Isaac, you know what I've got for me waiting at home?
I have no idea.
A brand new CPAP mask, and I can't wait to get home and use it. You want to tell me I don't live the wild life, brother?
Gonna be a wild night.
Yep. Sure is. It's all soft and clean and looking all good. I'm probably going to do a photo shoot in it. Maybe. I might do that. All right. So we have some crazy lunatic liberals that I didn't get to this week because it is the Friday cleanup. I'll let you hear them now. Maybe you've heard them already through the week, but I don't know. If you have, then you'll like to hear them again. Cut 71, Isaac, if you would. This is someone very mad about. It's a lady mad because there was a tragedy in her town. Listen.
Hey everyone, it's Representative Anna Villascamani, and I'm here right now at the Pulse Rainbow Crosswalk that FDOT thought was appropriate to sneak into our community in the middle of the night and to totally erase. I think it's so important to remember that FDOT decided, that Governor DeSantis decided, out of all the crosswalks to eliminate, to do this one, which is right outside Pulse nightclub, where 49 mostly LGBT plus people were murdered in 2016. This crosswalk was never about politics for us. It was about love, safety.
Right.
It was about creating a spark of joy for folks who come by. It's about finding power in pain. They're the ones who made it political today. And they're the ones who decided it was appropriate to erase an entire community here in Orlando. We're not going to let it stand. We're going to do everything we can to restore this crosswalk, but to also fight back against the extremism coming out of both the state of Florida and the White House.
So FDOT is Florida Department of Transportation. I wonder if the article that we were just talking about, they could get the full list of words that this group has banned Democrats from saying because they're stupid, and smart people figured that out. They put erased an entire community on there. Don't say something that you don't like has erased an entire community. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, the Pulse nightclub shooting was. I'm not saying that it wasn't horrible, because it was, and I'm on record as saying that when it happened. But okay, it was. I'm pretty sure Wasn't it a guy who was part of the LGBTQ plus and so forth community that went in there and just was shooting people? And okay, why is there a rainbow painted to constantly remind people as to that tragedy that happened? I don't know. But saying that it never was political is just, I mean, it's just simply not true. And you can hear it in her voice. Why did she go down there and make a selfie video saying all that stuff? Some of it where she was speaking so quickly, I couldn't even understand what she was saying. You know, libs do that. But then to say that Governor DeSantis is trying to erase an entire community. I'm just trying to figure out, though, what would be comparable to that. Okay, the shooting, the murder, all that was terrible. Very sad. But what if it would have happened somewhere where the people were heterosexual? How would the crosswalk be painted? Or should it be painted a certain way or anything like that? What if it was just a men's Bible study going on in a building? Somebody went in and started blasting it. Well, what should the crosswalk be? A bunch of Christian symbols or possibly a portrait of Jesus with his hands out? Would the left stand for that, even for 1 second? I don't know. These are just things to think about. I don't think they would. I don't think they would be, the Democrats would not be into paying tribute to a group of Christians who were murdered, or a mass shooting that happened to Jewish people, to have Jewish signs put into a crosswalk forever and ever and ever. I don't think they would allow that. Okay, and then we have this this lady, and I don't know even what she's talking about. I just pulled this one because it's so out there, so ridiculous, and it's believe it or not, a white liberal woman who's speaking insanity and going on making a fool of herself. Listen.
I will not hire a Republican. I will not do business with a place that employs Republicans. I will not allow a Republican in my home. These folks will sell a child to a predator for $1. Why would you go into a place that hires these people? They have literally said that they don't believe in reality, they believe in alternative facts. You're going to let someone who believes in alternative facts do your taxes? You're going to let someone who believes in alternative facts cook your food? These are people who don't believe in science or medicine. They will let chicken sit at room temperature for weeks because they don't believe that diseases exist. They put profits over people every time. Why would you eat at a Republican establishment? Why would you let your kids go there?
Well, just for the record, with this crazy woman, I will go against you in a cook-off every day of the week, lady, and I will smoke you. But you see how easily altered the liberal mind is? She honestly believes that she's not just saying, stuff just to be, hyperbolic or whatever. She really believes that Republicans don't believe in diseases or science, and that when we don't believe in those things, we leave chicken out to spoil and then serve it. She really thinks that Republicans are selling children. I mean, she is a whack job. I always break it down. There are some people on the left who are lying and telling a bunch of stuff just because they're trying to make a point or to advance themselves or to mess with somebody's mind so they can take control of them. And then there are the other ones who actually believe all of that stuff. So in order to be a Democrat today, you either have to be very naive and gullible, or you have to be crooked, corrupt. Those are the two choices. And I think she is just that naive and gullible, and also a little stupid and ugly. Just a little ugly. UGLY, she ain't got no alibi. She ugly. Why you so ugly? All right, hang on. More coming up.
It's TJ Ritchie.
Zevo Life is the ultimate all-in-one nutritional formula. It's one of the very best superfoods available. And right now you can save 30% on your Zevo Life order at tjritchie.com/deals. Use promo code TJ at checkout for 30% off. Pins and Aces makes high-quality golf products for everyone. And check out their hat selection. I want them all, baby. Exceptional quality, great designs. Get 21% off your Pins and Aces order by visiting tjritchie.com/deals and use promo code TJ at checkout.
Radio, podcasts, and cool social media content. Get all the TJ you can handle at WBT.com/TJ. Now, back to the TJ Ritchie Show on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
Oh, make sure you get up in here on that WBT text line driven by Liberty Buick GMC, 704-570-1110. Or you can call it as well, if you dare. I usually don't do this. I don't do shout outs or shouts out because, you know, it's kind of unprofessional and nobody really cares except for the person who's getting the shout out. But I'm going to break my rule tonight, and I may end up breaking it every night. It looks like I'm going to have to. But I would like to give a very warm shout out to my number one fan. My number one fan, we'll just call her Minnesota. Minnesota. We've talked about Minnesota before, and she writes every night. She listens to every minute of this show, and she writes in at some point, maybe several times, to call me names and insult me and do whatever she can put in a text that she thinks is mean. So obviously she is my number one fan. And so I just want to say, Minnesota, I see you. I'm paying attention. Pat, pat, pat on the head. There you go. Now go play. Go play with your toys. The grown-ups is talking. And then obviously this is a very intelligent person. Sent a text, said, TJ, I would much rather listen to you instead of UNC basketball. And not really because of me. It's because she goes on to admit that she's a Kentucky Wildcat fan. So it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's just because she doesn't like the basketball team because she's from Kentucky. That's all right. That is okay. Representative Jim Jordan from this week has something going that I think is pretty good. He's exploring and trying to see how much support in the House and all we can get for making a new constitutional rule that only native-born Americans can run for high office. I said that, and I guess he listens to the show because I said that a couple of weeks ago. When you look at people like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, you know, let's just take those two for example. They come from horrible, horrible countries in like just horrendous condition where they could not survive there, much less thrive there. Ilhan Omar comes from a situation where she had to escape Somalia. And she comes here where she now lives the life of royalty as a U.S. congresswoman and does nothing but talk down the country and still saying that she is working to, keeping herself as Somalian number one and whatever else after that. We can't have people leading our country if they don't think our country is the best and if they're not working for the betterment of our country. We got to get past these times of just letting stuff like that slide. Because no other country allows that. Let's say I moved to Mexico and I wanted to run, for high office in Mexico, and I let it be known that I was still American through and through, and anything I do in Mexico as an elected official is going to be to benefit America first. How long do you think they would stand for that? They wouldn't. So why do we have to stand for it? I mean, it just makes no sense. So hopefully with common sense coming back into style in the United States right now, we can get that taken care of as well. Oh, and I guess, I don't know, maybe I'll call my number one fan, Miss Minnesota, and see if she can shed a little light on this. But the Democrat nominee that got the endorsement from how they must do it in a weird way in Minnesota, how the Democrats or the different parties are broken up into who gets an endorsement and who doesn't and all that. But anyway, the guy from Somalia, he lost his endorsement. They retracted their endorsement of him for the mayor of Minneapolis because they said they checked and that there was some cheating going on. They had something that when they took the vote of the party that it wasn't calculated properly or something, but they took it from him. So that's a good sign. And I am learning something that I was wrong about. I came into the past few years of thinking that a Democrat politician is a Democrat politician. There's not a whiskers difference between any of them. But even though regular Democrats, American-born Democrats, are anti-American and they operate with a playbook of tearing down America, it's not the same as somebody who is from another country, hates America, and promises to use America to benefit their home country. Those are two different things. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of difference, but there's enough of a difference to where we need to stop one of them from being constitutionally allowed. So, and I know that's awful, and people are going to think that's terrible. But I hope they're able to do that. I mean, if we can have a law that says you have to be a native-born American to run for president, why can't we have it for the other high offices? We can. That's the answer. We can. Now, we should also stop allowing people to be naturalized citizens if they act the same way where they, here's the thing. We're only supposed to allow people to immigrate to this country if they're going to better the country. How is anybody who comes over here from a third world that's, against America, how are they benefiting us as the American people when they come over and all they want to do is tear down America, talk trash about us, lead, protests and all of the other stuff. How is that making America better? It's not. So they shouldn't have been allowed to immigrate in the first place. And if they did become naturalized citizens and they're doing that, then they should be denaturalized and deported. I mean, that's part of homeland security. That's part of keeping the nation safe. And I don't think we should allow any student visas to people from any country that is not a friend of ours, like China. We shouldn't be allowing student visas to people who come from these, communist countries that don't like America. Why? We want people here that love America and want to help America. And we've got the benefit of being able to choose and deny people that we think fit or don't fit. But you see, the Democrats have taken control. The Marxists in the Democrat Party have taken control of the language so much, and they've done all of this stuff unopposed for so long because the Republicans were just, don't want to make any waves, any of that stuff. So now that's become the normal accepted behavior when it shouldn't have ever been. And so now when you want to make it normal again, then, oh my God, you're so racist. You're so mean. You're so blah, 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 blah. And that was all by design. You can tell a situation where somebody is in this country to help and how they should have been allowed in and how somebody else shouldn't. For example, if there's a heart surgeon from Israel that wants to come to the United States, they have no criminal background, they have nothing against America, they want to be here and they want to come in as a top-notch heart surgeon. That's who you let in. That's who you give visas and citizenship to. Not people coming in to antagonize and who aren't appreciative of the fact that this is the best country on the face of the earth and the best country that has ever been on the face of the earth. If they don't believe in it that way, they're not doing us any good. Okay, we're not doing TJ on the news tonight. We're just going to keep rolling. Rolling. We'll get back into it next.
More of the TJ Ritchie.
Hey, it's TJ, and yes, it is going strong. The TJ Ritchie Show. It's my new political podcast on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT, and you need to sign up and get all the inside scoop on everything and get the special little perks by being a member of the Ritchie Gang. Be a gangster. Just go to tjritchie.com and sign up today.
News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT proudly presents America's coolest conservative. Well, proudly could be stretching it a bit. Welcome to the TJ Ritchie Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here we go. Hour 2 getting kicked off. Friday night. Sun's the sun's down, but it's just not quite dark yet. But, when the sun goes down, the volume goes up. That works a lot better when you're playing some slamming songs and stuff. It's kind of hard to crank up somebody just talking, that start to hurt your ears. Especially the great one, Mark Levin. He comes on after this show, and if you turn the volume up on him, it will pierce your ears sometimes, because he'll get all emotional and just start yelling, screaming. That's right. Get off my phone, you idiot. Oh, wow. Now I had this earlier in the week, and I never really had what I thought was the time to dedicate to it throughout the show. You know, it's a feel when you're moving and you got the live show going and all of that. So I really wanted to make sure that I had the time to do it tonight. There was an article that came out in the New York Times, and it was talking about the hardships that women in relationships with men have to deal with. Oh, now these, this is the feminist women. So if you're not a feminist woman, if you're a normal woman, then you shouldn't take offense to any of this. But there's a new term that feminist women have given to men called man keeping. And the whole article was about how women are just burned out with man keeping. Now, man keeping requires the woman to engage in emotional laboring for no money, is the way they wrote about it in the Times piece. So you see, you got all of this this goofball speak, man keeping and emotional laboring. Okay, man keeping is when the woman in the relationship. Let's use husbands and wives for the example. Okay, so you got a husband and a wife. Well, the wife doesn't really want to hear about any problems that the husband is having emotionally or mentally in any way. These feminist women. So when the husband has problems at work and there's somebody that is bothering him or there's something going on that's got him really stressed and he wants to talk to the wife about it, these women don't like it because they're having to put too much effort into being there and support his emotions and his hardships. Because, you know, obviously they've got their own things that they're having to do, which are much more important than what the man's doing, no matter what he's doing, right? And they admit that it's because men don't have, usually husbands don't have a lot of people in their social, quote unquote, their social support group. Whereas women will talk to every acquaintance they have about whatever there is going on with her that's emotional. Women know that they can look to their friends and their, female family members to give them support when they need it. And they can go to their husbands. Sometimes the husband is supposed to be there. Now, here's the thing. If a man is doing that, a man doesn't have friends like that. But if a man turns to his wife, the person that's supposed to love him more than anybody else does, and the person that's supposed to be there to support him because she loves him, the two have become one in the eyes of God, it's too much for her. Too much labor for her to have to deal with her problems and his. So the article was talking about how a lot of women are just saying it's not worth it. It's not worth having to deal with men and their emotional baggage. So here's one of the things that stands out to me. I'd say ever since the feminist movement, women have been saying, why do you shut down? Why won't you talk to me? Why won't you tell me what you're feeling? Why won't you this? Why won't you talk to me? Why won't you let me in? Right? Then the man lets them in and it's too much. Oh, I can't handle it. The burden is too much. I'm having to handle my emotional problems and yours. Oh, my God. What am I going to do? And I'm not even getting paid to be your therapist. That's the way feminists think. So I can understand how young men don't know which way to go. Do you want this or do you want that? What is it that you want? But I'm going to tell you something. If you look at your husband like that, like he's got problems that he talks to you about and it's too much for you to handle, then you don't love that man. And it seems to me that you probably are a narcissist and you don't love anybody but you. Because these types of women are looking to be martyrs and victims. That's how they get their power. And if somebody comes along that has the same type of problem that they may have or needs help with something, then that's taking attention away from them. Everybody's supposed to serve me and my emotions. And this man that I married, which I'm seeing now is probably a mistake, he's dragging me down. I can't do it. It's too much. It's too much for me. I'm telling you, these feminists are crazy. Squirrels in their heads, I'm telling you. And if you're a young man, I don't care how hot she is. If you come across a feminist that wears it like a badge of honor, that tends to be a radical feminist. Run like the wind blows. Do not get involved in a serious long-term relationship with a feminist unless you're ready to be a submissive, hapless husband. Because they don't care about you. They care about them. And if you are a young feminist and you may be looking to get married someday to a man, don't do him like that. Either stop being a feminist or, don't imprison a man. Because what does a feminist usually do? They want to change a man's nature, right? Change his nature. His nature is to be a man. And if feminists aren't that fond of the way men are, then they're going to try to change him against his nature. And that's not good. But yeah, man keeping and emotional laboring. That's how they describe it. A marriage. Isn't that delicious? It's just precious. Absolutely precious. All right, hang on. We got more coming up.
The TJ Ritchie Show.
Zevo Life is the ultimate all-in-one nutritional formula. It's one of the very best superfoods available. And right now you can save 30% on your Zevo Life order at tjritchie.com/deals. Use promo code TJ at checkout for 30% off.
Identifying liberalism and mocking it relentlessly. This is the TJ Ritchie Show. On News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
All right, give us a little bit of some feedback if you want. I like it. I don't care whether it's negative or positive. I don't care. Well, I mean, I like it if it's positive. I appreciate you. If it's negative, then you can go pound sand. But I'll still read it. 704-570-1110. Text, call, whatever. So we were just talking about this article in the New York Times about this horrible, horrible thing that's going on. It's against women, obviously. Everything is. Where they're having to provide emotional support for their husbands. It's called man keeping. And don't you know, women have enough on their minds anyway. They have enough struggles they're carrying around. They're emotionally laboring over everything. And they just can't do it anymore with these men talking about things that bother them in day-to-day life. You can't handle it. But this all goes back to the the plan of the Marxists, because Karl Marx, one of his main points and the most important things that he had mentioned about moving away from capitalism and into Marxism and all of that was to destroy the family, because the government becomes your support group, your support staff, not a family. And it's all part of that. Like every time that you can come up with a new reason that the traditional American family shouldn't be the way it is, like you should tear that down, it comes from the Democrats. It's always some leftist group, feminists, those types. Same reason, they promote DINKs, the acronym DINK, dual income, no kids, is what that stands for. That's why, they talk about all of these wonderful benefits that you have in your life, how much better of a life that you're going to live without having kids to drag you down. You remember I was talking about the other night that a lot of times the left looks and treats children as if it's a disease that a woman has caught. And it's something awful. She needs help with it. The community needs to help her with that disease she's been given. Instead of looking at it like, the greatest joy and gift from God that you could have, they don't like that. And then that's number 2. Tear down the family, tear down the faith. You see, the Marxist doesn't want us to have religious faith. You don't want us to believe in God. They want us to treat government as God. Government is where we go for everything. Because once you turn everything over to the government and you start to believe that the government is your savior, the government is the one that's there for you, then they can control you. Because whatever they can give you, they can just take it away. And if you got faith in a higher power like God, they can't take that away from you by force. So they've got to change your mind as to how you view anything that you would consider a higher power than the government. Why do you think during COVID that they shut down all the churches? They shut down churches, but didn't shut down protests, like the Black Lives Matter protests that were going on at the same time. You remember when that disgusting Roy Cooper, he was the governor, and he had all of these iron-fisted government mandates. You had to stay in your house, and you were basically, on house arrest. Couldn't go to ball games, couldn't gather in churches, not even for funerals and things like that. But that I'll never forget that video of him, that shot of him walking, marching for his political theater, marching with the protesters, with that COVID mask hanging off of his ear, looking like a doofus. You see, that benefits the left, those marches and riots and protests and all of that. That benefited the left, the Marxists. Shutting down churches benefited the left, the Marxists. That's why they shut down all churches, but they would allow that tight-knit gathering, because it wasn't about, and we know this now, that that COVID hysteria and all those rules they came up with and all that stuff. They were just grabbing it out of thin air and censoring everybody who spoke against it. You know, if a scientist actually came out with the data, the research that said this is not what we should be doing. This is not helping. These masks don't stop anything. This is happening. That's happening. This is the real science. You know, they got shut down. They got censored. You remember all that with social media shutting them down? It was all by design. And so is everything that you see that gets pushed by the media that is a wedge that they're trying to drive between groups of Americans, relationships between men and women, and relationships between people and God. So it's not, not just a fun little thing to say, I've got more money than I would if I have kids. We live and go however we want to go, and we do when we want to do, and da-da-da-da-da. You'll hear all that on social media, the dinks bragging about how much better their lives are than couples who have kids. And it's because the left is obsessed with the self. That's why they act the way they do. Because if they look at it like that, then they're just looking at it from selfish reasons. Now, I'm not somebody that thinks that everybody should be having kids. I don't. As a matter of fact, I think some people, should be taking tests before they can have kids, IQ tests and stuff. I think conservatives should have as many kids as you could possibly have. But if you're just running around bragging because you got more money, you can go on vacations and you can do all this other stuff, and laughing at people who do have kids like they're the uncool ones, then you need to step back because you're just making a fool of yourself. Especially when you're putting it on social media. I mean, come on. Grow up. Grow up. All right, hang on. We got more coming up.
It's TJ Ritchie.
Hey, it's TJ, and yes, it is going strong. The TJ Ritchie Show. It's my new political podcast on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT, and you need to sign up and get all the inside scoop on everything and get the special little perks by being a member of the Ritchie Gang. Be a gangster. Just go to tjritchie.com and sign up today.
Late, live, and local. It's the TJ Ritchie Show on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
Digging it. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you. Oh, yeah, I do. I appreciate you. Today's National Tooth Fairy Day. Did you fellas know that? Tooth Fairy Day. I used to get a quarter for a tooth from the Tooth Fairy. 50 cents. I got 50 cents. I hear that they're going for like $5 today, or $5 to $10 a tooth, something like that. I don't know what she's doing with the teeth. She's paying a lot for them. Tomorrow is Find Your Inner Nerd Day. Well, I don't have that because I'm the America's coolest conservative. I don't have an inner nerd. I don't think anybody at WBT has an inner nerd. They all got outer nerds. Nerds. Nerd alert. I'm kidding. And then Sunday is National Waffle Day. Lonnie Ray, you waffle or pancake? Which one you going?
Let go my ego, man. I love a waffle, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waffle too. Isaac?
Oh, yeah, waffles all the way.
Is there a hum in that microphone?
There is.
Oh. I knew that because I'm a professional. I could hear it. Hear it? Sound like a bunch of, like a street light. When you sit under the street light in the summer, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, if I got a choice of a waffle and a pancake, and not just an Eggo, I'm talking about like an IHOP waffle, big as the plate, got big thick scoops of butter on it. Man, if that's the situation, I wouldn't hit a dog in the butt with that pancake. I'd rather have a waffle any day. But I haven't been eating any waffles when I'm down 19 pounds in 6 weeks. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine what's going to happen when I do. Waffles and beer. Waffle covered in peanut butter and beer. And poured beer all over it instead of syrup. So last week there was a Florida guy who was pretending to be an ICE agent and got arrested for drunk driving. He had 2 children in his car at the time. So you got this guy pretending to be an ICE agent, and I don't think that ICE agents, when they're doing their raids and stuff like that, I don't think they observe take your kids to work day. That could have been the first thing that alerted people that he wasn't really an ICE agent. You think? Maybe. I have a cousin that used to think he was a police officer. Y'all hear me? I really did.
Hey, y'all hear me?
Yeah, he had he wanted to be a cop badly, and then back then they didn't have the internet or anything. You could order stuff out of the back of spy magazines and things. So he ordered him a big smoky hat, and he was an adult, so he was allowed to carry. And he had a .357 Magnum he'd carry in a regular police belt that he had ordered from this magazine, and walk around acting like he was a cop, but he wasn't. He was just Cousin Danny. That's a true story. True story. They say that that patriotism is making a comeback with the new generation of young Americans. That's great news. And I say that as the green-eyed patriot. Because you just think about the difference in what has happened over the past few decades. I mean, it used to be God first, country second, We were taught in school to be patriotic. We were taught how America is, the greatest country in the world, and what it means to be an American and to have pride in your country and the flag and all of that. Well, you start getting too many leftists in charge, like Bill Clinton, he came aboard. That stuff, starts to ease out of the schools, and then not only is it eased out, it's replaced by what we have now in public schools in a lot of situations where they're being indoctrinated, and then going into college where, Marxism runs rampant throughout the faculties of these colleges and universities. And that's how you end up with people who really are just, have no problem saying that America sucks. Not even stopping to think what their lives would be like if they lived in another country. I do think that that there should somehow be a way to get through to people who sit in this country and enjoy all of the freedom that they have and enjoy the liberty and all, that they just don't realize what it means and how America, even now, after, so much of the country has been taken over by the left and the Marxists, everything from entertainment to college to the news and everything else. It'd be a way to, deprogram them from all of the stuff that they know now. I did it with my kids from the time they were in first grade on. They went to a public school. My daughter went to public school and then she went to a private Christian college. But my son was public school all the way through. And my wife and I kept up with what they were learning at school, what they were being taught. And we always took the time to make sure that they know the real story of the founding and the greatness and the goodness of America. But a lot of parents don't. They don't do that. They just figure that, hey, the school's teaching them all of that. And the schools are teaching them the opposite of that in too many cases. That's why I'm in favor of schools all having webcams set up in the back of the room that are constantly streaming during the day. So anytime they want, a parent can log on and see what the teacher's teaching, see how they're teaching. And if the teacher is in there giving a lesson to second graders about same-sex relationships and, all of the stuff that they have been doing, sneaking those books into the libraries that are so vulgar and all that at school, then we can stop it faster. And I don't know why the Republican states haven't stepped up to do that. Other state employees, like say the police officers, they have to wear body cams showing every move they make, car cams, dash cams showing every move they make. Why can't the teachers do that? Because far too long they have been unsupervised, and that's why you see them all over social media. Those crazy outfits and talking all kinds of crap that makes no sense. And they'll get in there and they'll teach things to these kids, again, from a narcissist's standpoint. They want the kids to learn what the teacher is about. Who cares? You know what I knew about my teachers growing up? Nothing. That's why if I ran into one of them when I was in the grocery store with my mama, I felt like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Because they're not even supposed to, kids shouldn't even think the teachers are living normal lives. They just live at the school. The kids should assume that. Because if you ran in, and I grew up in a small town, so we'd run into teachers in town all the time. I'd be like, whoa, what are you doing here? Well, I got to have groceries too. Or if you ever see your teacher out somewhere in town with their husband, ooh, that's her husband. So you definitely shouldn't have kids knowing anything about the teacher's sex life. But that's what we've got in too many cases now. And it's because the people who make the curriculum, a lot of them are indoctrinating. And then the people who are teaching it far too often are narcissists who want everybody to notice them. and you put cameras in the classroom, I think a lot of that would go back to just teaching the kids the lessons of education they need to become successful citizens, successful adults. So maybe I'll get in front of Congress and talk about that. I'll only do it on a federal level, though. You know, North Carolina's, that's too small. They won't hold me. I gotta get up in the main halls of Congress. Once they get the D.C. crime problem fixed, then I'll go do it. But I'm not going to D.C. right now yet. I'm doing that. All right, hang on. We got to do something else in just a few minutes. And the problem is I don't know what that is yet.
The TJ Ritchie Show.
Zevo Life is the ultimate all-in-one nutritional formula. It's one of the very best superfoods available. And right now you can save 30% on your Zevo Life order at tjritchie.com/deals. Use promo code TJ at checkout for 30% off.
He's radio royalty in the Carolinas and Queen Charlotte's sweetest prince. It's TJ Ritchie on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.
Okay, we got a lot of, I'm going to try to fit in here in the last segment. First of all, from my home state of Louisiana, Denham Springs, Louisiana, that's way down in the South Louisiana. That's where the Cajuns live, South Louisiana. There's a beef bandit that has been arrested. A beef bandit was arrested after stealing hundreds of dollars worth of meat from Walmart by stuffing it in his pants, according to police. The Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office said dispatchers, if you live, though, in the deep South, rural South, it's dispatchers is how you pronounce it. Said the dispatchers received a call Wednesday morning about a man who left Walmart without paying for the concealed items, only to return and try it again. So witnesses said they saw him drive off in a black Honda with no license plate. The Denham Springs Police Department later spotted and stopped the vehicle. Deputies found multiple packs of hamburger meat. That's what it says. So there you go. You know, they're Southern. They would just say hamburger if they didn't, or they would say ground beef. They wouldn't say hamburger meat. And that's a Southern thing. Hamburger meat and ribeyes in the car. Investigators determined some of the meat was also stolen from Sam's Club. In total, about $300 worth of meat was recovered, but will not be resold. The police are having a cookout tonight. It doesn't say that. I just added that because I figure that's what's going to happen. That's a lot of meat in your pants. You know, if you're trying to be on the run from the law. All right. I've had this for several days, and since it's the Friday cleanup, I got to get it in here. There is something called the Jubilee, and it is where you take a person who is a political commentator of some sort. Let's say it's Ben Shapiro. I've seen him do this, and Charlie Kirk. I've seen him do it. They sit on one side of a little table, and then these young people sit around them who are of opposite political minds, and they debate. It's like a 2-minute debate, and then that one gets up, and then the other one comes and sits down, and they go at it. Well, this one featured a woman named Amanda Seals, and she is an activist on the left, and she is an African-American lady, and she was debating African-American people who are conservatives. Okay. This is what it sounded like. Listen.
Our ancestors wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity. And we have equal opportunity in this country. We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. We had a black president and we had a black vice president. I mean, I think she was black. They said she was black. I don't know. So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? white people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this thing where, oh, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have this liberal mindset are infecting our communities, black people, and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality.
Victims, not victors. They want to be victors, not victims. That's great. And all the while she's sitting there and she's looking at him like she just is talking to an alien from outer space. She can't believe what she's hearing. Okay, here's some more.
Because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby. Please.
I said the Lord's name in vain. The Lord's name.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad.
Who helped her?
Come on in.
You know who helped her?
God and
people who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
it's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir, that's simply not true.
If
that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their culture. Black culture is toxic. The black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic.
And you hear she's just like blah, 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 because they continue to colonization and colonize and blah. She's using all of the left's talking points, but she's not really disputing anything that he has said. You know, the stuff about, victims versus victors and all of that. And then there was another guy that stepped up there and he did, he's 18 and he did a great job and she never could dispute any of it. At one point she looked at him and said, no, you talk to me like you would your mama with respect, like scolding him because he was debating her and she didn't like that he was making points. So she had no comeback of facts to do this. And that is a typical liberal versus conservative debate. Now, when those conservatives that I mentioned earlier, when they go on and they do that same thing, they have facts, they have statistics to back up everything they're saying. The liberal people that are there to argue with them argue like this woman. Emotions, things that they've been told by people who have an agenda, all of those things. And then when, these went viral and saw that she couldn't hold her own in an argument with these people, she came back, I guess, on social media and said something along the lines of, I didn't argue with them because they were so off base that I didn't want to give their arguments any credibility by trying to argue with them. Convenient, isn't it? Oh, you're so smart. It wasn't that they made you look like you didn't know what you're talking about. It was because they were so off that you didn't want to encourage even taking that seriously, what they were saying. Okay. Wink. Gotcha. Thank you. She wears some cool glasses, though. I'll give her that. She's wearing some. They look like they were peepers. Peepers reading glasses. But I just love that kind of stuff. And she was. I say that again. There are people who are just saying something to be saying something for their own benefit that they don't really believe. Like, I think a lot of that stuff that Jazzy Crockett says, she doesn't really believe, but she's saying it just to to cause a ruckus, and because she's trying to get in the minds of the people that she needs to give her power and all of that. But then the other people actually believe it. And this Amanda Seals, the look on her face when these young black people were making their points, and she looked like, I cannot believe that I'm hearing this coming from these people. This kind of stuff is not supposed to come from these people. Well, who said? Who says that, that you're not supposed to hear conservative facts and arguments and principles coming from young black people? Who made that law? Who made that rule that it can't happen? But it's happening. And I love it. I love it. Meanwhile, you got Isaac over here, 23, 24, however old he is, and he can't even read what his hat says.
I told you not to tell people about that.
These smart kids up in there debating the issues. What are you doing? Learning how to flip open a Zippo. Okay, thanks for listening. I know it wasn't, a lot of the silliness that usually comes with the Friday night show. But the only reason for that is because I didn't feel like doing all that. You hear me? You heard me? No, I'm kidding. You just go where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, you just got to feel it and then follow it. That's what my motto is. Feel it and follow it.
Zevo Life is the ultimate all-in-one nutritional formula. It's one of the very best superfoods available. And right now you can save 30% on your Zevo Life order at tjritchie.com/deals. Use promo code TJ at checkout for 30% off.
Hey, it's TJ, and you may have heard I have a little talk show now. It's from 7 to 9 every weeknight on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT. And you can also watch it on YouTube. That's right, my beautiful face on YouTube. Go get signed up for the TJ Ritchie Show on YouTube. You can do that at tjritchie.com.